Hello and welcome to Maybe Next Time. Maybe Next Time is a series that's going to be all about where I take my last review and I say what worked and what didn't work and explain what you could have done maybe next time for the sequel of the game, or if they ever release a game similar to what I'm going to be talking about to make it better. Today I'm going to be doing Yu-Gi-Oh! The Falsebound Kingdom. This was my first review I ever did on my channel, and although I had a lot of fun making the video, I had a horrible time playing the game. There is a reason why I had a horrible time playing this game, is because it had all these great ideas, but it just turned out to be a giant piece of crap. There was there was a lot in this game that could have been great. Ugh, I really wish it was great. And if everything was done right, I would have put a lot more time into it and been a lot happier with the time I put in there. But because so many things were done wrong, the time that I put into this game, I wish I got back. So, I want to start with the story. The story is about Yugi and friends getting trapped in a game, and yada yada yada. You've already heard the story. If not, just check my review and then listen to this. So, the story is really cool because it actually has 3 different stories. So you've got a ton of content, and each of these missions are actually relatively long, and there's about 20 per story. So that's a lot of content to get through. And the reason they have 3 stories is because of the 3 Egyptian god cards, and each character you play as ends up with that card at the end. Being Yugimoto, Seto Kaiba, and Joey Wheeler. They all end up with the Egyptian god card at the end. But the big problem with the story is that it's so freaking weak. There is not that much fun in it, and they have the whole trapped in a video game story that actually happens twice in the series, maybe more. I'm only on season 3 of the show, and it's already happening again, and it's stupid. I don't understand why you're going to keep recycling ideas. So, what I found the story to be so lame is that there's so little dialogue between the characters. It's just, here, you have this objective, complete this objective. And then maybe at the beginning and at the end, Yugi will say something to some character that you don't really care about. And the reason the story really hurt me is the fact that there's no animated cutscenes, there's no actual dialogue in this, it's just all text-based, and it's not even good text-based. There's not even, different images for how characters feel about things. It's just the same image with more exclamation points or question marks and things like that. It's just stupid. It just doesn't feel good. And then the main villain, Scott, was also a huge disappointment. He really doesn't do anything other than oh, I'm gonna come up with this new bullshit reason why you can't get further to the story or beat me because I run the game. But I'm Scott, I'm a dick. It was stupid. He didn't feel like a real villain, and they replaced the villain in the game at least 3 times. And I only played Yugimoto's story because the rest of the game didn't interest me because it just bored the hell out of me. And the reason it bored the hell out of me is because of the gameplay. And now I'll talk about the gameplay. The gameplay just, it had so much potential. And it freaking kills me how much it sucks. It's supposed to be like a 3v3 RPG game where you level up your monsters and they attack each other, defend, use specials or items. And there's a lot of detail that can go into this, because they have things like character balls, like the color of their ball means they'll give this monster so many points as long as their ball is almost the same color as the owner's. It's a bunch of weirdness that the game doesn't explain to you, and you can find this in the manual of the game where it explains a lot more. But the manual is even poorly translated, that some things that are said in one way in the game are different from what it says in the manual, so you might just get entirely confused. So that's super dumb, and just all you really need to do in this game is attack one monster over and over until that one's dead. But the problem is, if one of the monsters on the enemy team has a medicine, like a blue medicine or red medicine, they will always heal that one. So basically you're attacking a wall until the enemy team is out of this healing item. And it just gets frustrating, because you feel like you get so much progress, like you're about to beat the really hard one, the one that's doing the most damage to your team, and then they just red medicine and you have to start from the beginning. And it seriously is just boring. And they've got the really cool animations for monsters doing attacks on each other, but those animations just get so boring over time because you see the same one over and over, especially if you're trying to make one monster a lot stronger than the other ones. This one monster, you're going to see him do the same spear throw, the same fireball, the same missile launcher. It just gets so boring because you just see the same thing over and over. And then when a monster doesn't defend, like where they prepare themselves to get hit, they don't change their stance. It just a little small white dialogue box comes up and says defend, and then it's gone. So you have no idea what monsters are defending and what monsters are available to be attacked. And then defense is also, it makes no sense with the fact that in the instruction manual it says you can break defense by attacking the same monster over and over and over. And I tried that one time. One monster was in defense, and I attacked him 5 times before he attacked me or did anything. Couldn't break his defense. And then I can have one of my monsters go into defense. He can get attacked once, it'll break his defense, and then he'll get attacked again, and then be wiped out. And it becomes so ridiculous because you have to keep fighting these guys, and you end up fighting the same monsters over and over and over, so you don't see new changes in monsters. Like maybe once every 3 levels you'll see a different monster, but because you get so few monsters while playing through the game, and you have your, like the ones you're already working with because you want them to be strong at a higher level, you just get so bored with every single animation, and I have no fun with that. And there is really good, like there's a couple good ideas with this gameplay. Like I only really enjoyed the boss fights. The boss fights being that you fight Scott or I don't even know what the dude's name was. He was one of the bosses that literally that made no sense. Or you fight Obelisk the Tormentor or one of the other Egyptian god cards. When you fought them, those were fun because those guys had new monsters you've never seen, and then usually it was in a new environment with new music, and it was really freaking cool. Especially, I really enjoyed the fight against Scott because he had 2 really cool monsters with a really cool lead, and it was actually like a legitimate fight, like it was a struggle to fight them all off. With everyone else, you just wipe them because you're bored as shit, trying to just go, okay, I'll fight the same dude with the same face, with the same monsters over and over and over. And then, if you don't beat the area in like, I think 3 to 5 minutes, the enemies respawn at half health and come after you again. So you're stuck fighting them again and again and again, which is extremely boring. There's nothing fun about fighting the same dude over and over and over. And the reason they do that is because if your team gets wiped, you also get a respawn. But the fact that you never really get wiped because you're so overpowered compared to them, the fact that they respawn just becomes an annoyance. It doesn't become a fun gameplay part, it becomes an annoyance. But with the gameplay, they also have really cool things that are story-driven. Like, there are events, like a base will blow up because, I can't remember his name, I think, one of the guys ends up blowing up a base because he's like, oh, I'll just help you out, da-da-da-da. And it's really cool because it tells you, at this time in the game, this is going to blow up. And the game has an in-game clock, which is a day and night cycle, so you'll see some of the maps be nighttime, daytime, dusk, dawn. It's really cool. But, again, you see the same maps over and over and over, that the variation doesn't do anything to the actual fight. All it is you're in the forest at night, you're in the forest in the day, you're in the city at night, you're in the city in the day. It's nothing different. The only time you really see different areas are in the end game, and when you fight a boss. So, that becomes boring and repetitive. And with that, there's just so much they could do. They could just do that better. But, like, probably the most redeeming factor of this entire game is the graphics. Those graphics, even for that time, look awesome. They did really well with animating each of the monsters that you would see in the card game and see on the TV show. They did really well with their attacks. They did really well with the colors. It's kind of seizure-inducing, but it still looks really freaking cool. And I'm not gonna lie, whenever I got a new monster, I was really excited to see how it attacked. Like I did, Skull, Red Eye's Skull Dragon, and like, Dark Magician and all those guys. It was really cool to see them do new attacks because, hey, I just got this new monster, I want to see how they attack. And then sometimes you'd have special attacks, like the Dark Magician and the Dark Magician Girl can do a special attack because 2 monsters, sometimes if they have a certain trait, which by the way, they never tell you which monsters can be fused together, which monsters can work together to do special attacks. They never tell you that, which is stupid because you don't know what to do. And at the time, the game came out in 2003 or something like that. You don't go on the internet to look that stuff up. When I was a kid, I would have never used the internet to find that stuff out. It's stupid. It's just a waste of time. And these special attacks are really cool and they're really devastating, but you just don't know about them unless you look it up. And I had to look up to see if the Dark Magician, Dark Magician Girl would be able to do anything really good. And they turned out to be what would carry me through all the heavy, like the big boss fights, just to help me wipe them out faster because I got bored as shit. Now, that's where the graphics are really good, and especially with the Obelisk the Tormentor fight. Oh my god, I love that fight. It was literally the only thing in the game that I enjoyed because I broke the rules. The rules stated that I needed to go fight Obelisk, and Obelisk had 9,000 hit points. And you hit him, you do like 100 something. You really wouldn't do very much. You get 3 hits, and then he hit you once, and you're wiped. Because you would do so much damage, because he's Obelisk Tormentor, obviously. So the game tells you to go and attack these 3 individual bases. And because you play through the entire game attacking these bases, you're bored shitless of these bases. So what I said, I was like, nope, I'm just going to keep attacking this guy until he gets low health. And so I just kept throwing my team at him, getting wiped each person going in, attacking, getting wiped. And that was like the only fun thing I experienced in this entire game. Like that ending was seriously the best part. And I even got a really cool Dark Magician Girl special move to wipe Obelisk off the map. And it was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed that. But the rest of the game just, man, they could have done so much better. So what they could do next time is fix the story, do something original. If you want to do trapped in a video game, give me a better reason why they're trapped in a video game other than, oh, they put this on and now they're knocked down and trapped in the game. And I get using the Millennium Puzzles for a reason for everyone getting captured and things, but it's just boring. It really is. And I get the show is mostly that, but I mean, come on, the show was even cool with its battles. Aside from the story being garbage, I just want them to fix that. That's literally the biggest thing about the story, is just do more with that. Give me animated cutscenes, stop giving me still images. It's just boring. Now, for the gameplay, they should basically take what they have and get rid of all the healing, add more animations with the defense, because that's a huge part of it. Like, if someone's going to be doing defending and like being strategic with that, show that they're defending, like have their arms crossed or something, not just have them stand there and just a small little white letter defend come up. Because that's not cool. That's stupid. And use more with that in-game clock. Make things like bigger events happen. And definitely stop the respawns. Those respawns are dumb. Like, you don't even see games like Fire Emblem do that. Like, if someone's dead, they're dead. Leave them out. And even for your own team, if they are killed or fainted in battle, have them be out of the battle. That's your own fault that they got fainted. Not, you can just wait 5 minutes and you'll have them back. And definitely just get rid of that repetitiveness. Use more monsters. Have people with different faces. I understand having the same enemy, but at least fix up the monsters or make them different. Make their people act just slightly different. Like, make them more aggressive, make them more defensive, just anything. It gets boring after time. And definitely show, there's I forgot to mention this, there is in-game, you can run into one of the monsters, beat it, and then put it in your team. And the only way you can run into it is if you run onto a very little invisible spot on the map. And that was so dumb how you run into that, because you have no idea where it is, the event will happen, and then you might actually end up getting screwed over because your team will get wrecked, and then you won't be able to change your team's course. They'll end up bumping into an enemy team and getting wiped. Because in this game, when you're in that top field map, you just go in a straight direction. And that's actually one thing I forgot to mention, is that straight direction is also just dumb. They should be able to control a little more how you move, and you can never catch an enemy. If an enemy passes you and you try to catch them before they get to the base they're going after, you'll never be able to catch them. And it's ridiculous because you're like just one step behind them, but you'll never catch up with them. And I think there should just be a way to catch up. It's just dumb. That top field movement needs to be completely redone. And I really like the random encounters, but show me how to get those. Don't just have an enemy in one random corner and have that be the random encounter. And also have more special moves with monsters. Explain, maybe even have like a leveling chart, show what level they get these perks, or have you be able to control how much attack and defense points a monster gets in each area. Because it just, like, you'd have a monster like Karibo that would no matter what get good, but you'd imagine that because in the show he's got some certain attributes that he might be good in the game, but no, he just ends up being garbage, or just a throwaway character that you get rid of whenever you get a good monster. And the graphics, keep the graphics, or if you're gonna do another game, just make it look better. They look really great. They already do really well with that. Just maybe change the attack animations a little more, because the same one over and over just gets boring. Or at least let you skip the animation, because watching the same one over and over makes you want to skip it, and you can't skip any attack animations. So you have to wait for the monster to wind up, jump, and swipe, and it just gets boring. So that is what I think you can change about it. Basically, new story, just redo the gameplay entirely. It just is boring, and keep it from being boring. And graphics, keep doing what you're doing. Just add more attacks and show a defense position. So, thank you for watching. More will be coming. A new review is coming up soon here, and I don't think I'll be announcing it, but we'll see. Appreciate your time.
You know who it is.